People on the Block is all about people working and the work they do.
Howdy, hi there, it's Mimi with People on the Block. And today we're going to interview David with DMC. Where did the idea for DMC come from?
Where did the idea for DMC Creative Solutions come from? That's a good question. Well, I come from a long line of entrepreneurs in my family. But my father was running his business back in the 80s, way back in the 80s when dinosaurs roamed the earth. I used to go with Pop all over Houston. We would go every day. This was in the summer when I was off from school. I'd never skip school. Learning is important. We would take my mother to downtown Houston, drop her off, and then my father would go to all his accounts. We would go to, North Houston, South Houston, Central, manufacturing, NASA, doctors, lawyers. I mean, just any group you could possibly think of, African American, Jewish, white, Pakistani, Middle Eastern, Indian, just a whole group of people live in Houston, and they still do. And that's one of the things that I think is awesome about it is when you think about diversity and just different groups of people coming together, working, getting ideas, Houston's definitely a place that I think it's the third or fourth largest city in the United States. So seeing my dad go to all these different places, I'm like, well, he's never busy. He's always moving. He's always meeting different people, and he's always having to think about each individual industry, healthcare, manufacturing, aerospace, everything you could possibly think of. Different personalities, different people. So I guess when I got the bug to start my own business, it was like I just kind of thought about what my father and my grandfather went through. And I was like, I could do this, because it's the same thing. You go out, you build relationships with people, you learn about what they're doing, what their specific problem is. And being an outsider on each of these businesses, you're trying to see, like, what are they missing? What are they not doing? What could they do better? Especially as I started to segue into like the tech world, online, people were pretty old school. Most of my clients either don't have time for it or they have no familiarity with like the digital and tech world. So I try to bridge the gap between those two things and be like, calm down, relax, ease up, let the blood flow. It's going to be okay. I'm just here to make your life easier, to help you do something that you're good at. What you're not good at in the tech world or in advertising and marketing, you let me handle. You don't have to worry about it. And it's very simple. The dynamic is I'm trying to help my customers, and that helps me. So the harder I work for them, the more that I do for them, the more they're going to succeed, then I'm going to succeed. So it's not only a feeling of like, wow, I feel great about helping people, which is good, always good to help people, but it's also, you're helping the entire picture. You're helping Texas, you're helping America at large, or the world, however you want to look at it. But people need to realize that if you do right by your customers, they're going to sing your praises and they're going to do your marketing for you. So it is tech. There is a lot of, involvement with like having to do things online and having to use technology. But at the end of the day, it's still about helping people and just being a real person. And that's what I learned from my father, my grandfather, and all the great companies that I've had the privilege to work with. So it's never boring. And, it's just one of those things where every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to do manufacturing today. I'm going to do healthcare today. You have to think on your feet all the time. And so I like things like that. It's just great.
So what was it like when you visiting office with your dad?
Well, whenever I would go to different offices with my father and visit people, you would see his interaction with them. And usually they were like, this is the problem I have. I need you right away to do it. Sometimes they were more laid back, but you would meet people from every background with different problems, different needs. And he always had this way of just like thinking about what they were saying and then go, okay, I know exactly what to do. So he could never be bored. He was always like, okay, when we were driving, when he wasn't using four-letter words, driving on the roads in downtown Houston, Pop was basically trying to think, okay, this is what I'm going to tell Bill or Bob or whatever it was. Like, this is what has to be done. So he put 110% in with every customer. And so by the time he got there and he presented them with, in his case, he would do like engraving and lettering and all kinds of signage. He would have the idea pretty much crystallized in his head, and he would just kind of draw out what he's going to do. By the time he came back with the finished product, they'd be like, that is exactly what I wanted. It doesn't always go that way, but over the time you kind of learn what to ask people. But again, it doesn't always go that way. So what you have to do is just have a process of trying to get into their head as much as you can. So you really have to be almost like a psychic. You have to work very hard to try to see what are they going after, what do they want to do. What I always try to say is, let's figure out where you want to go. Let us get you there, and don't worry about anything else. But you win some, you lose some. But it's never boring. It's always exciting.
What makes it fun at work?
What makes it fun at work? I think the fact that you basically get to be a part of other people's lives. You have to stop and say, okay, how can I take their unique problem, put myself in their shoes, and then with my experience and the things that I've done and all the places that I've been to, all the experiences that I've had, how do I take and put all that together and then throw that ball, so that you hit a home run for them. And I don't think in all the years that I've done this that I've ever had a situation where it's exactly the same. It's always something you have to present, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to execute this? And of course, technology changes, the world changes, so you basically have to use your brain quite a lot, which I enjoy doing. So at the end of the day, what keeps it exciting is just the fact that you're like, okay, I'm here and I want to get way down there, so how am I going to do that? And it's never exactly the same, because every client, ideally, you have different segments of society: doctors, manufacturers, inventors, therapists, everybody. And they're all trying to reach different people. So sometimes you have to spend a lot of time on that project just doing research and reading and learning and learning. You have to do a lot of thinking, you have to do a lot of improvising, but at the end of the day, you pretty much learn after years and years of experimentation and tweaking things and monitoring things, like, this is going to work, this isn't going to work. And so you really get to sit down and go, I'm going to make sure that this is not only going to do well, it's going to do exceedingly well, so that when you have that review with the client and you meet them, they're just like, oh, this is great, this is better than I could have hoped for. So, and then of course, when they leave you a review and they say something great, well, then that's awesome. But basically what you're just trying to do is, for each situation, find out where are they lacking and how can I make this better, or how can I fix something that they're just not addressing at all. And that's really all you have to do, is just say, if I were them, how would I fix this problem that they're not even aware of? So, once you learn how to do that, then every time you go in there, you're like, I'm going to make this better than they even imagine. So it's a great feeling.
So
today's episode is brought to you in part by our friends over at Love Thai Cuisine. Love Thai Cuisine is an amazing restaurant that offers both lunch and dinner options for Austinites, out-of-towners, and picky foodies. It's a culinary experience that comes right out of Thailand. Love Thai Cuisine presents to you the true spirit of Thai dining, street food, and also modern interpretations. The cuisine is designed to be a culinary and authentic celebration of the foods of Thailand. If you're hungry for pad thai, golden noodles, khao soi, Penang curry, rice balls, you can wash it down with some delicious Thai tea. Love Thai Cuisine, conveniently located in South Austin on Brody Lane. Love Thai Cuisine, because everyone needs love.
do you prefer the review?
Reviews help. I'm not going to lie, they're really good to have, but I've had clients who never left me a review at all, and they just, either somebody calls them, a referral situation, or they're like, you have got to use these guys. They're fantastic. I love them. But sometimes you have situations where just out of the blue, somebody's like, yeah, I heard about you from Courtney. I'm like, oh, right. And you have no idea what you're talking about, because that was someone from years and years and years ago, and you have to jog your memory. And so sometimes you have people that come to you from a referral, and they're in a completely different field, where they're like, hey, I've invented an anti-gravity unit. Do you think you could help me? It's like, well, I haven't worked with Martians yet, but I think I can help you. So you have to be willing to accept when people come along and other people have put all this trust and faith in you that you're going to get it done, you're going to make it happen. And it's just a great feeling when you're like, absolutely, I'm going to get this done.
To talk about the process start to finish.
So the process from start to finish is basically a client reaches out to me, email, text, phone call, whatever it is, and they will start to ask me like, I've got a project, I got a service, or I need to get online, I need to be found. Sometimes they just want you to highlight either something they're trying to promote, they're either trying to let people know in the digital world that they exist. So I try to first assess what do they need help with. That's the first thing. The second thing is to do an exhaustive amount of research so you can kind of get into their head. In my line of work, I do have to play a psychic. Not always fun, but you have to understand that people, all of us, we're juggling so many different things in our head now. So I have to wear a lot of different hats. And so when doing that, the first thing that I do after I've concluded the research is I start to say, okay, I think we should do this, this, and this. This is my summary assessment. So you tell them where you want to take it, where you're going to go, basically like that, and you break down what it's going to cost, what they're looking at. And essentially from there, you start to build either the website, or you start to work on a commercial, or you work on a branding campaign, or you sit down and you say, I see some holes in the business that need to be plugged immediately before we do anything. And generally speaking, most people kind of stop, calm down, and go, okay, let's do this, let's do that. But what you're trying to do is just help people kind of put the wheels back on the car properly, rotate things, change the oil, you get the engine running correctly, and help them move down the road faster. Some people, it's kind of like a struggle because they're like, I've always done it this way, I don't want to change. And I'm like, Bob, Bill, you chip off the old block, I get it. The problem is that we have to let go of those things, and we all talk about change, and change is wonderful, and it's a great thought to say we like change, but the reality is we all like a routine. We all want to wake up, feel refreshed, we want to have coffee, whatever it is we do, we have a set routine where we're like, I just want everything to be relaxed. But the reality is business, especially in the 21st century, is like, what do I do here? What do I do here? What do I do here? And everybody is just scattered, and you have to go relax, calm down, calm. Incense, Wayne Newton records, whatever you do to relax, calm down first, because you're not thinking clearly, you're not understanding that you're just grasping at straws, making really bad decisions. And the first thing about business is you have to foresee where things are going to go for yourself in the short term. You can worry about the long term later, but the first thing is you've got to say, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing that's just basically spinning my wheels and I'm getting nowhere? And a lot of people don't think about that because they're like, well, it always worked before. Why is it not working now? And it's like, I understand, but the reality is just so many factors of things that are changing. So when somebody from the outside comes in and says, let's take a look at what your problem is, and then slow down, and then we can either execute it through the tools that we offer. And you know what? There's even been cases when people have come to us, we're like, whoa, Bob, Sue, whatever they are. All you need to do is these little minor tweaks. It's not going to cost you very much. We'll take care of it. And that's going to build your referral system. That's going to build the word of mouth for you, because people are like, these guys are on another planet, they're thinking differently, but at least they're honest and they have integrity. They're looking out for me. Because when I go to my mechanic, when I go to my CPA, I want to know that they're telling me something that I need to know that's going to save me money in the long term. People, unfortunately, no matter what time period you're living in, no matter what business it is, they're like, I just want a short-term solution. It's like, that's not possible. Some things take a long time to implement. Some things don't take a long time. But I'm going to tell you and be straight up with you and be honest. And if you don't like that, I get it. But, you need to hear honesty so that you can make a accurate assessment and then plan for your future. But if you're just telling people what they want to hear so you can get a paycheck, it's like, yes, you'll get a paycheck in the short term, but you're not going to last the long term, because all it's about is just money. And yes, I love money. It's great. You can buy things and you can go eat, and it's always a good sandwich, definitely helps attitude. But the problem is that if it's just about money and it's not about building a foundation in success and building a foundation in logic and deductive reasoning, you're just going to make short-term decisions that might help you a year, maybe 5 years, but long term, it's just going to fizzle out, or competitors or competition's just going to clobber you. So you want to make sure that you're kind of laying the groundwork for something that's going to last a long time. our competitors a lot of times just do things that are like in the moment or what's going on for right now. And I totally get that. Trends and doing what's cool right now, it's easier, for lack of a better term. It's an easier thing to do. And I tell people, like, in our line of work, what we do is we're just all about how do we make this last for as long as possible so that you can keep that cash flow in your pocket, or the things that we're doing for you are going to extend much longer, rather than just like, let's just put bubble gum and baling wire on this problem and move down the road. It's like, you're going to spend some money. There's no question about that, but you're going to earn a hell of a lot more, and it's going to be to your advantage. And once people see that, that's when you get the good reviews. That's when the phone starts ringing and people going, wow, these guys, they just saved me. So it's like, yeah, it's not cheap, it's not free, but the thing is like, I don't get the residuals when a person's business succeeds. They're getting all the rewards. So when they sing our praises, that's great.
Where do you draw inspiration?
Where do I draw inspiration? Well, let me think. I have a huge ass library in my office. I've been collecting books probably since the late 90s. Barnes & Noble was like my second home because I love coffee. Makes me feel important. It just wakes up my brain, gets me going, gets all the ideas flowing and juices going. But even though I do digital, I still have to wear glasses sometimes because I get splitting headaches. So I like to take a break, sit down, open up a book, and when I'm sitting outside, just read and look at things. So it can come from, ideas can come from art, they can come from science, they can come from documentaries, they can come from people, religion, animals, nature, anything really. So because of the nature of my work, it's in my best interest just have a really diverse collection of like books, from science to history to art, everything. And I just pull it all together and then vomit it out into whatever I do. So people are generally like seeing me either read something or looking at things. Like when I'm on my phone, I'm not looking at social media or any of those things. I'm actually just reading about something in history or reading about something in manufacturing or something like that. So for me, I just can't get enough information just because I feel like being involved in what I call universe specialities, whether it's photography, whether it's advertising, business development, consulting or assessment, you want to be involved in something where like no matter what you do, no matter how much you claw away and try to learn, you've got to keep going and keep going and keep learning. And I always saw people in college and schools like looking at that as a bad thing, but for me, it's a great thing because the more that I can learn the stuff, the more that I'm like, when I go to meet a client who's involved in something I'm not familiar with, I can open up a book or look at something online and I immediately get an idea of like, okay, I know exactly what they're into, and I can connect the dots a lot faster just because you have all that broad information. So it's not just a matter of reading and researching. You also want to go out and physically try to do some of these things. So sometimes I've had clients who are like, I need you to put on a pair of roller skates and I need you to roll. I don't roller skate very effectively. That's more like a comedy routine that I do. And it's not very pretty to see me roller skate. So there are some things where I have to just visualize in my head about that situation and just leave it up to imagination. Other things, you try out the product or you try, the food, or you just imagine what are you trying to do for this situation. So it's a lot of imagination, it's a lot of daydreaming, but I've always been a daydreamer. I just now get to put that towards something practical.
Besides the business advertisement, what other services do you offer?
So apart from advertising, business assessment, things like that, what we also do is we help people online with their website, with SEO, kind of how they're positioning themselves. We look at the back end of how their code operates, how they're doing things. We also say, okay, you have way too much text, or you're just bombarding people with too much information written-wise. So let's do a video. Let's break it down and make it concise. And then you show people and explain things to people verbally, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to go for. But sometimes people are like, I just want a brochure. I just want to have a big poster created that's going to go up. So we've done wall art. We've done, we've done logos. We've done things like that. But really, it comes down to doing videos and photographs and just putting that in with the business assessment, mixing those things together to say, yeah, you can have a vision, but you also need to make sure that vision has visuals. So vision with the visuals, plugging those things together, it's going to get you where you want to go faster. So people have to understand that nowadays people need blinking lights, or they need something that's going to get their attention, but it needs to be something that's kind of classy, consistent. Sometimes people are like, I saw this new thing on social media and it's doing this. It's like, okay, is it a trend, or is it legitimately something that's going to like keep people's interest and get to this concise point, a very concise point about what you're trying to do? So we just kind of pull all those threads together and make sure that it's one nice bundle that's going to communicate what they want to do, with if it's a service or something they're trying to do, or they're just trying to let people know they're out there. That's what we do.
So do you think you guys will always question about the trend?
Yeah, I question trends because there's been so many things that I've seen come down the road that, whether it was an app, whether it was a new way of like a certain color scheme or whatever, you're like, tell me who we're reaching, tell me what we're doing, tell me what the field is, and then I'll give you my overall assessment, put it all together and tell you this is what you should do. Does that mean that you shouldn't sometimes ride the trends for AI or rocket ships or waterfalls or westerns or whatever it is that you're doing? Yeah, sometimes you can do that. You don't want to lean on that too much. When you start leaning on it too much, then it's like you just become a victim of that roller coaster, whereas slow and steady always wins the race. That's just the way I look at it, and we've done that. And the people who just go, okay, we'll try it your way, it always levels out. So if you can not let the market, especially the stock market, worry you, you're going to be fine. So that's where we try to assess, like, what does this particular project and situation call for? But usually trends are not a good idea.
How about the website? Do you have to let the customer maintain or like check the condition yearly?
Wow. The problem with that now is that web technology is pretty much changing yearly, sometimes every 6 months. And so we like to monitor things on a weekly, sometimes basis, just because it's like, if you've got a shopping cart, if you've got, all kinds of visuals, if you're pulling in a third party, you just need somebody that's at least going to go check the thing so they know exactly like where it's at, what's going on. A lot of people are pulling in like so many different things to their website now that they don't realize one thing could break, this could break. The other thing is sometimes when they go, well, we would like to do the driving and have you hand over the website, they don't understand now everything's moving toward, even if you have a WYSIWYG or a plug-in website that, do it yourself, they're starting to move toward charging you for every little thing. So yeah, you could do that, but my opinion is at least have somebody who's in your corner, that if you get lost or you don't know what you're doing, they will come along and they will help you in a way that you're like, okay, I broke something here. I need to call Dave. I need to, it's like, calm down. Just text or call me and we'll bail you out of that. But the thing is that it's so convoluted and so complicated, and hacking and security, it's mind numbing sometimes. So we just tell people, it's like, you need to have somebody in your corner if you're going to do that, no matter what, program you use. Because it's like, we've worked with Wix, we've worked with Squarespace, we've worked with WordPress, and nothing is 100% perfect. So you have to realize that there's never going to be a system where you can go, now I can lean back and everything's taken care of. It's like, no. You have to monitor things, because technology is technology. And if you don't keep your eyes on it, and especially monitor the things that are outside of that, sometimes something could happen that you're not even aware of. So we just step in and we just go, we'll keep an eye on it for you from time to time if you want us to. And if you want to, that's fine too. But just be aware that there's so many moving parts online. It's only going to get more and more convoluted as time goes by. So buckle up.
Next question. What makes DMC Creative Solutions so unique?
So I think that what makes DMC unique is the fact that our collective experience has just kind of taught us to see both the digital and the organic world. So a lot of people like to lean on one or the other, whereas like we're this weird hybrid where I grew up right when digital just took off and exploded. So I understood that, like, okay, it's a tool It's a really good tool. It's excellent, but you still have to understand it's just a tool. If you don't have something inside of yourself, principles, honesty, integrity, intelligence, it's not going to go anywhere. So what we try to do is be as upfront and honest with people as possible, but at the same time, we try to give a 360 overview of like, this is what we think you need to do, this is how you need to get there, and really go and dig deep down into what they're trying to do, and then give them the best possible solution for that.
So how did you fall in love with business?
So for me, business was just always really fascinating because the companies that I work with, you get to see everything from different angles, different perspectives, from the products being made to the people in the office, getting them out there, to going out into the field and seeing the consumer actually take it, use it, enjoy it, to the not so good experiences. And so seeing that entire process was like, this is really what makes America and the world at large, but especially America, interesting, is that it's this big ecosystem that you're trying to basically see like how to make areas of this better. And so again, it's like what we talked about earlier about a universal type of interest. It's something that it's really big, it's really vast, and it's something that you're never going to really be able to totally lock in completely what it's about. You're constantly learning different things. There are patterns, there are things you see, they're like, okay, I've seen that before, I recognize that, but it's always something where you have to hit the reset button and start all over again and just figure out like where do they need help, what can I do, where can I be of assistance, basically.
Is this area good for creative people and business?
I think Central Texas and Austin at large is a really great place. I've been here since 1999, but I go back and forth between Houston and Dallas. It's kind of a good central place to be. But I've worked in New York, worked in California. But for me, Texas just has that kind of like rebellious, Wild West kind of atmosphere, just because people in Texas, I don't know, it might be something to do at one time Texas was its own nation. There's something to that. But people just have this thing of like, I don't have any shackles. I don't have any limitations. I just have an idea. I'm just going to go for it and nothing's going to stop me. And that doesn't matter what field it's been in, whether it was in the tech field, whether it was in manufacturing, whether it was in automotive, anything that it's ever been in Texas. It's kind of been somebody that's really been the trendsetter for the entire nation. So, whenever people tell the jokes about Texas, the one thing I would say to our credit is Texans kind of think outside the box, just because there's something in the blood. There's something here that any city that I've been in Texas, people are they just look at things completely different. There's no such thing as, no, it can't be done, negativity. It's always like, well, we're going to find a way, we're going to make it happen, and I don't care what happens, we're going to do it. And other places that I've been to, they have a defeatist attitude. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Whereas people in Texas, they see a frontier, they see that horizon, they're like, nope, just keep going. And that's what I like, is just whatever's going on in the world. If you're around Texans or people that come to Texas, we always have this like, all right, saddle up, we're heading them out, let's go. And that's the thing, is that that's infectious. So you get that and then you spread that to other people. So even when we work with people who are outside of Texas, they kind of pick up on that and they're like, well, I want some of that too. So it's like, okay, we'll spread that to you digitally, no problem. We can do that. But it's just a great place where you feel that kind of like people are here, they want to do something. I mean, you meet people from all walks of life. There's all kinds of restaurants here. There's all kinds of different creative people, and they're in all the cities, Dallas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio. I mean, even Corpus Christi, there's just so many different things here. So if you get a chance, I would definitely visit. Maybe not stay right now, because it's people are coming here right and left, but eventually it'll level out and everybody will calm down. So it's just, people just need to chill out. But I think Texas is always going to have that kind of thinking outside the box mentality, because it's something in the blood, something there. I can't explain it, but I couldn't imagine being any other place else. But it always is fun to get outside of the state and meet other people and freak them out with my Texas accent, or, don't have the cowboy hat yet, but the boots I do have. Just, I didn't wear them today. Sorry. This is why I can't go to Thailand.
Because of me.
If you want to be on People on the Block, drop us an email.